Hello, my name is Gail Cavanaugh. I know you can't see me right now, but it's really not important right now for me to for you to see me because I'm going to be doing a demonstration of watercolor painting. And some of you, if you've seen some of my videos in the past, you know what I look like anyway. But watercolor painting can be very rewarding experience, and it's one of the most difficult types of painting to do. I've always wanted to do watercolor painting, even when I was painting as a child. Never really got a chance to do it until about 20 years ago. And it's the kind of a skill that you have to develop, a style that you have to develop over a number of years before you can actually master the technique. It's a very, very difficult medium to work with. I don't want to discourage you because in the process, you know, it's very, very rewarding. What I would recommend is that if you decide you're going to do some watercolor painting, that you practice, you know, the same types. If you're going to paint flowers, you want to practice painting flowers over and over again until you have perfected the technique. And now I'm going to show you some of the watercolor paintings that I have done over the years, and you can see what I mean when I say it's kind of a difficult medium to work with. Here are some gourds that I had painted from a photograph, and you know, as you can see, there are various colors, and you know, there's various techniques there. And I thought it was a very interesting composition, and that's the reason why I painted it. Okay, here's something that I did quite recently. It's a group of flowers that I did that I saw in a garden outside of a church. Okay, and I'll give you a close-up of here, the technique. You know, it's very simple, you know, different colors, different tones of greens, you know, that I worked with, and different tones of reds. Okay, and red's a very challenging color to work with. And notice the variety in the paintings that I'm showing you. Now here's this looking out of the side of a boat. Okay, it may not look like that, but the blue is the water, and the brown here in the foreground is the boat deck, you know, that you'd be walking on. And these are the railings here. Okay, and that's another type of different type of technique. Okay, and then here's a house that I did. Actually, it's a little inn that I did. And what you'll find is that your style will develop. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a close-up here of the style here. You know, very loose painting, different shadings, different colors that I used. Okay, here's a close-up of the door and the windows. Okay, it almost looks like something that belongs in a storybook. Okay, and that's what you'll find about watercolor painting. It tends to give you an illusion that, or an impression that, you know, the painting should be in a storybook. And here's a picture of a boy that I painted. Okay, and this is partially done. Okay, and notice the expression on his face and his hairstyle and his shirt and the folds and the shadowing and everything in the shirt. Okay, I give you a close-up of that. I'll give you a close-up of his face. Okay, and these are the kinds of things that you can do if you practice. Okay, I've been painting since I was a kid, but I've been doing watercolor painting for the last 20 years. And I'll tell you, it's been a very rewarding experience. Now, for watercolor painting, you should have certain brushes made of sable. Okay, and here are some of the brushes that you would use. And they have the short stems. With watercolor painting, you use the short stem brushes. With acrylic and oil painting, you use the long stem brushes. These are short brushes, and notice how you know, the tips are very, very different. Some are thin, some are very thick. These two here are for more detailed work. See how thin they are. They can get right into the tiny details. These brushes you can use on a wider surface. Okay, and these are the kinds of brushes you're going to find that you're going to have little brushes that you're going to like to use more than the others. Okay, and then the watercolors, you're going to need a set of watercolors. Now either you can get a good set of watercolors like Prang or Crayola. These are Prang watercolors. Okay, and yes, I know they're very, you can tell that I've used these a lot. But these are the types that are in the little cakes in the tray, kind of like the ones that you get in school, but these are better quality than the ones that you would get in grade school. Okay, and up here is where you can put the water and mix the different colors and the paints and everything here. Okay, and then here, these are the different wells that hold the color. Okay, all here. And you can mix your colors. If you see, these are all the primary colors, the main colors. And then if you want tones that are in between any of these, then you can mix them up here in this tray. Okay? You could either do that, or you could get yourself a good quality tray, mixing tray like this. Okay, and you would just put, your water, you put your colors here. You can squeeze your colors out of tubes into these little trays here. And then you can do your mixing on the bigger portion here of the tray. Okay, and then in here, you might want to put like a bottle or something here. And that's basically, see, this gives you a bigger surface where you can mix your colors. See here. Okay, and this is a plastic tray. You can get this in any art store. Okay, and you could even use like a pie plate, a metal pie plate, or an aluminum pie plate. It depends on what your budget is. Okay, and then here's another type of watercolor here. They come in tubes. This happens to be Cottman Watercolors. Okay, and you just unscrew the tube. Oops, I can't get that one off here. Let me get one that I can get off. Sometimes that'll happen. The colors will harden around the cap here. And these, see how that is there? These are, these come out, you just squeeze them onto your palette, and then you mix them with the water, and you start painting with them. Okay? And these last a very long time. They're very concentrated, and these tubes here will give you a better quality of color than the cakes that are in the tray. Okay, so the way that you want to get started, the kind of the paper that you use for watercolor, it's not like a canvas like that you use for acrylic or oil painting. It's just regular paper. It's called cold pressed paper. It's a heavyweight paper suitable for watercolors, and it's acid free, and you can get various pound weights, 140 pound, 130 pound, 120 pound, and the higher the pound, the more of a surface you have. On watercolor paper, there's a bumpy surface on the paper, and that's what you want. That's what's going to hold the water. Okay, if you get just like a plain piece of paper, like a piece of an 8.5 by 11 paper that you would like run copies on, that's not going to work. You'll find that the paper will get wrinkled from the water being on it. This heavier paper can hold the water, and the paper will not wrinkle in the process. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to wet your brush. Okay, just dip it in. You need to have a jar of water. Okay, so you can clean your brushes. Dip your brush into the water. Okay, and then you want to dip it into your color. We're going to make watercolor splotch washes. Okay, a splotch of watercolor. Okay, we get the color there. Okay, we just kind of get that going there. And then you want to just run this across the paper. This is a watercolor splotch. Okay, I don't know if you can see that that well. And what you do is you go across the paper, and then when you go back in the bottom, you go about halfway into the previous color, and you go across again. And that's a watercolor wash. Okay? And these washes here, these will just help you to learn how to put the color on the paper. Okay, now another technique of doing this is the way my uncle taught me, is to wet the paper first. Okay, so you want to wet your brush and then run it across. You want the paper to be wet here. Then you're going to go in and get your color and work it into that. See how the water is dripping down, okay? And what you want to do is let the color go where it wants to go. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm going to wet the paper first, okay? And don't worry if it's dripping, okay? And then, let's see, I get a nice blue this time. And we're just going to go right in that color. Okay, then bring our brush across, halfway across, and just let the color go wherever it wants. Now see how on this side here the color is darker. I just let it go. Okay,